Welcome to the Rewatch Ryan YouTube channel. Happy October 1st. Today is the day that we start this brand new project here on the channel. I'm going to be watching 31 horror movies this month, one for every single day in the month of October that I have never seen before in my life. And I've been wanting to do like a first time watch series for a while now on the channel, and I just figured why not knock out one of my biggest blind spots in the process. My name is Ryan Snelling. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd at Rewatch Ryan. If you haven't seen some of the videos and the podcasts that I've made leading up to this, I talked about how I was going to watch one horror movie that I've never seen before every single day. It's important to know that I'm not a horror guy. I'm not someone that you'd call a horror fan. I don't know a lot about its history, the genre. I've seen some classics. I've seen some of the recent ones. I was a kid in middle school that went to the movie theaters on dates like everybody else. But it's just never been something that I've been super into, and it's never really captured my imagination. I think it's just been really important that we step outside of our comfort zone with some of the content that we're making here. I mean, I can talk about Marvel and Game of Thrones all day, but why not finally address all of these classics that I've never seen before? I'm going to be ashamed to admit that I haven't seen a lot of these movies, just because I'm a guy on YouTube that makes content about movies and TV shows. So I think it's just finally time to address a lot of this. So I'm going to put every single movie on this list that I've comprised on my Letterboxd. So please go to letterboxd.com/rewatchryan. Just find the 31 days, 31 horror movies list, and it'll show you 34 movies. I put 3 extra because 3 of them are sequels. So if I decide, hey, I don't want to watch the sequel, I'm just going to move on to the next one, I do have 3 movies on deck, on standby, in case I want to pursue that. For example, if I watch Evil Dead and decide I don't want to watch Evil Dead 2, I'll just move on to the next movie that I had on standby. Today, we are starting with Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Yes, this is one of the movies that I'm ashamed to say I have not seen before. Just to give you some background, I feel like I know the basic premise of this movie, but for some reason, I'm also under the impression that there's like an entire angle or an aspect that I might not be familiar with. This is also my second ever Hitchcock movie that I've ever seen. Rear Window, up until this point, was the only Hitchcock movie. My biggest entryway into this franchise, if you will, or into this movie, is the fact that I did really love and appreciate the show Bates Motel. Now, I don't know what horror fandom, what their relationship is to that show and how they relate it to the movie. I also know that Gus Van Sant did a shot-for-shot remake of this movie with Vince Vaughn for some reason, which just kind of seems like a tremendous waste of time. I'm excited, but I will say too, I legitimately think I will find appreciation for this movie, but I also don't see myself walking away thinking this is the greatest horror movie of all time. I've seen clips of the famous shower scene, and honestly, I think a lot of the stuff in here is going to look super dated, and I don't think I'm going to connect to it the way that a lot of people have been able to do over the years. I think you're going to be able to tell me why it's special, and I do hope to learn more about the movie, but I just simply think this is going to be an instance of I'm going to get up from my chair and say, well, at least I can say I've seen this movie now, and then move on. But I am open-minded, and I always want to love everything that I watch. All that down, let's get into Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. This is sick. You want to get pissed off right off the bat? This reminds me of like The Bourne Legacy. Bernard Herrmann, the man. It's been so long since I've seen opening credits like this. I live right outside of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm 2 hours south. I live in Tucson, and I did not know that this took place here. But let me know, can I go to Phoenix and see where some of this is filmed? Or is this just going to be like the opening scene? And because I could have sworn this was the Pacific Northwest that this movie takes place in.
All right.
Is that him covering up his boner?
Yeah.
I'm actually into this so far. I'm kind of surprised. Is that Alfred Hitchcock right there? Yep, sure is.
I've got something, not aspirin. My mother's doctor gave them to me the day of my wedding. Teddy was furious when he found out I'd taken tranquilizers. Any calls?
Lowry, I am dying of thirsteroni.
Not thirsteroni. You know, it's kind of crazy watching a movie like I haven't watched an older movie like this in a while, but it's interesting how I can watch something from 1960 and still think, you know, I wonder how they did that. I'm not making fun of it. I don't think this is bad or anything. There's just no way you'd get away with this kind of thing. Like turning your entire back to the cop.
Like I said, it's too nice a day to argue. I'll shoot your car in the garage here.
Can you imagine, like, if this took place now, the TikTok that would come out of this situation? This cop is stalking you. What's your name and badge number? I'm gonna need to see your supervisor.
Buzz me the minute she comes in.
This is the kind of anxiety I have.
No one's answering at the house.
Like,
Called her sister, Mr. Lowry,
it's
where she works.
nerve-wracking to think
He's
about
the
what would
biggest
happen if I
business
just, like,
right now.
skipped work
She
one
doesn't
day.
know where Marion is any
Let
more than
alone
we do.
drive
Put her
off
out to
with
the house. She may be
thousands of dollars.
unable to answer the phone.
Like, this is the kind of thing, I want to know how it's shot. There we go. There we go. So that's my first question. So, we're in Oregon, I think, now. She drove up Cali to Oregon, and I mean, I know this is like backwards and weird to say, but this is how I remember Bates Motel. So, shout out to the show for doing something very, yeah. This is how I remember like the geography of everything. So, good for the show. Yeah, this is exactly how I remember it. This is cool. I legitimately cannot wait to see Norman's performance. Because I'm going to be thinking about Freddie Highmore, thinking about this performance, and it's exciting to me.
Gee, I'm sorry I didn't hear you in all this rain. Go ahead in, please. Dirty night.
You have a vacancy?
Oh, we have 12 vacancies. 12 cabins, 12 vacancies. They moved away the highway.
Wow, this is cool. What a weird thing. This is a weird experience, and I know it's probably frustrating to the people who've seen
Nobody
this
ever comes here
first,
anymore unless they've done that.
but wow.
But there's no sense dwelling on our losses. We just keep on lighting the lights.
I
and
feel like
following
I'm
the
watching
formalities.
the Bates Motel cast, but obviously I'm watching the Bates
Your home
Motel
address.
cast
Oh, just the time.
imitating this. And by Bates Motel cast, I mean one character in this scene.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I just read on
Well,
IMDb that
if
White
you
Pine
want,
Bay,
maybe
I'd
just-
forgotten, that's where
just tap
Bates
on the
Motel,
wall. I'll be
the
in the
show
office.
takes place, but this is
Norman Bates.
outside of Fairville, California. And I have no idea why they changed the location, but
You're not really going to go out again and drive up to the diner, are you?
alright. This is a lot of fun to watch. One thing I remember about the TV show is I'm pretty sure Norman had peepholes from room to room. I can't remember if she's in room 1, is he able to look at her through the office? I can't remember exactly how it was set up. I was gonna say, get rid of the suspicious envelope. There you go.
You understand, boy? Go on, go tell her she
All
will
right.
not be appeasing her ugly appetite with my food.
I guess she
or
can hear
my
this
son.
clear as day.
Or do I have to tell her because you
I'll
don't
give it
have
to
the
him.
guts? Huh, boy?
Okay, I think I might have stumbled upon the aspect that I felt like I was missing. Because I haven't seen the final season of Bates Motel, but I think I know what happens. I'm pretty sure Norman kills Norma. So that voice has to be him. Which makes this performance from Anthony Perkins that much more
Have that much of an appetite.
interesting.
Thank you.
Watching this so many years after Bates Motel, it kind of feels like
It's all for you.
stupid of me to like find all these connections. Like, how much cooler would Bates Motel have been to me if I'd seen this first? Like, I would have been way more impressed by it. So it feels kind of silly that I'm getting excited for the reverse, but it's still fun.
Hear the expression "eats like a bird." It's really a false.
And it's weird that more people don't talk. I don't know how the show ended. I don't know. I can't remember how it was received, but I don't know why people don't talk about this more.
About birds. Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Yes.
She's ill.
She sounded strong.
No, I mean.
I love
ill.
that shot. To see him appear so
She
much
didn't have to
older
go to work or
too. I
anything
mean,
like
his
that.
mindset
He
is
left her a
still
little
so young and juvenile.
But she's harmless. She's as harmless as one of those stuffed birds.
In the book,
I'm
I've read
sorry.
that he's in his mid to late
I always
40s,
felt-
but apparently in the movie they
seems
changed
she's
him to be
hurting me.
mid 20s. So I guess he's not that much older
People always mean well.
than the last Norman Bates that I met.
Pluck their thick tongues and shake their heads and suggest oh so very delicately.
Yep, here we go. Man, he's crushing it. Sick math. Is this it already? Are we about to do this? With an hour left in the movie? I don't know how I'm feeling right now. You know, it's weird. It's almost like the most iconic. First of all, I'm literally shocked that that scene just took place right here at the, 45, 49 minute mark. I'm not sure why the figure was disguised and appeared differently. Something about it, it's like, it's the most dated part of the movie, was that violence. And, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. I mean, it, narratively, and it's, I don't know. It's weird to see it in this context. It's like, part of it's better, because I've seen this scene before, but without all of the context, without the anticipation. But it's also weird because cinematically, it's completely different than anything else I've seen yet. And because it didn't really, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I feel like has dated the movie, but of course it probably scared people when it came out, you know? Man, what else happens in this movie? Oh, I remember. Norman had... That had to have been Norman in some sort of mask or something, under a different... I totally forgot, he used to get blacked out. Yeah, okay, so we're back to... That was definitely Norman, but disguised and under a different... Yeah. I'm with you guys, don't worry. Almost disappointed you. It's all good. It's crazy how much quicker and how much easier it was back in the day to just erase someone from the planet. Like, no one's ever gonna find this out. Let me guess, the third act is about somebody figuring it out. License plates on Norman fucking Bates. Norman fucking Bates.
Now, what plane could we be in together?
Sorry about
Stand back.
Well, is Marion in trouble? What is it?
Let's all talk about Marion, shall we?
Who are you, friend?
I didn't like that at
My
all.
name is Arbogast, friend.
Not
I'm a private
Arbogast.
investigator.
What?
I always change the beds here once a week, whether they've been used or not. Hate the smell of dampness, don't you? It's such a, I don't know, creepy smell. Come on. You out to buy a motel?
Man, he's awesome.
How did she pay you? Cash, check?
Cash.
Cash, huh? And after she left, she didn't come back.
Well, why should she?
You sure would save me a lot of legwork if you let me talk to her. Would I need a warrant for that, too?
Sure.
All right. Thanks anyway.
So, I want to say that that's one of the best scenes in the movie. The thing that I'm just having the hardest time figuring out is how would Arbogast connect the dots that she was here? Like, I wish there was more, well, she went from Phoenix to a California town. She covered a lot of ground, and I'm just so curious as to how he stumbled upon this motel. That's what I don't get. Why would he feel compelled to stop? How much time went by? I mean, not a lot of time. I mean, if she was in the registry from over the weekend. I mean, that's the part that I have to give myself to, I think. Just a movie thing, but still, it's the first thing that's kind of disappointing. Yeah, I'm reading a couple of other comments, people that are wondering where this is actually supposed to be. Someone saying that it probably took 8 to 10 hours. What's he gonna find? I'm so excited. Oh my god, that scared me.
It isn't important what he said on the phone, is it? He was supposed to come back here and talk to us after he talked to the mother, and he didn't. That's what I want you to do something about.
Like what?
I'm sorry if I seem
These
overanxious.
these
It's
shots
just
are
that I'm
kind
sure
of
there's something
unusual.
wrong
I mean,
out
they're
there,
so
and I have
high
to know
up.
what.
Well, I think
Okay.
there's something wrong too, miss. But not the same thing. I think what's wrong is your private detective.
Well, he was out when I was there just a while ago. If he's back, he probably isn't even in bed yet.
He
How
wasn't
far
out
away
when
is
you
this
were there.
motel?
He just wasn't answering the door in the dead of night like some people do. This fellow lives like a hermit. You must remember that bad business out there about 10 years ago.
Please, call.
You mean that old woman I saw sitting in the window out there wasn't Bates' mother?
Now, wait a minute, Sam. Are you sure?
I
you
remember
saw
that
the
from
fool?
Bates Motel.
Yes, in the house behind the motel.
Vera Farmiga and Nestor Carbonell are, I believe, are laying there, but Nestor Carbonell survives and is trying to pin it on Norman. That's what I remember last from Bates. Wow. It's just so much more interesting to me now. This whole thing. Like, I'm not sure why this isn't more talked about. And again, I can't really speak to how well the series ended, but I mean, I had a lot of fun watching that show. And I wish it was discussed more, because I just feel like it's a great companion to this. I really, really do.
Now, Mother, they'll come now, Mother. He came after the girl, and now someone
Is
will
the
come
camera
after
gonna go
him.
above the wall?
Mother, please.
Is
it's
it gonna
just
do
for a
it?
few days, just for a few days, so they won't find you.
Just for a few days. Norman, what do you think you're doing? Don't you touch me. Don't. Norman! Put me down. Put me down. I can walk on my own.
I'm just confused about the geography of this movie. And I can't be the only one.
If he sees us, we're just taking the air.
Do they have a firearm? I mean, how do they expect to do this on their own? Why aren't they scared out of their minds if this guy potentially killed Marion? And, well, not potentially, but to them, potentially, our big guest.
No shower curtain.
Sam,
No shower curtain.
look.
What is it?
It's figuring. It didn't get washed down. Look, some figure has been added to or subtracted from 40,000. That proves Marion was here to be too wild a
Bates
coincidence.
never denied she
They
was
found
here.
the paper. But no, what's on her side of the wall where the peephole is? If he can move a picture frame, are they going to find it? Say, I've seen Norman Bates backed into a corner before. I don't think this is going to end well for either one of them.
You looking for me? Why, yes, as a matter of fact.
Was he
Why
watching the
take
whole
a
time
nap,
through the
then?
peephole?
I never get.
Oh, I love these shots. What's she looking at?
Mrs. Bates?
You look frightened. Have I been saying something frightening?
I don't know what you've been saying.
I've been talking about your mother, about your motel. How are you going to do it?
Do what?
Buy a new one? In a new town where you won't have to hide your mother?
Why don't you just get in your car and drive away from here, okay?
Where will you get the money to do that, Bates? Or do you already have it, socked away?
Shut up.
A lot of it. $40,000.
Why would you go further into the house? Why wouldn't you go out the back or front door? I get it, you're looking for Marion, but you're stuck. Is it Vera Farmiga?
His mother was a clinging, demanding woman. And for years, the two of them lived as if there was no one else in the world. Then she met a man. And it seemed to Norman that she threw him over for this man. Now, that pushed him over the line, and he killed them both. And because he was so pathologically jealous of her, he assumed that she was as jealous of him.
All right.
Therefore, if he
Starting
felt
to
a strong attraction
explain a
to
little
any
bit too
other
much
woman,
here. Like, we get it.
the mother's side of him would go wild.
Yeah. We get it.
They're probably watching me. Well, let them. Let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even going to swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Iconic. The Bourne Legacy. Wow. Wow. Psycho. All right, so before we dive into my overall thoughts of Psycho, make sure you check out this 30-day free trial of Audible. Just scan that QR code right there with your camera, or there's a link in the description down below. It's audibletrial.com/rewatch. Get you a 30-day free trial and maybe listen to the book that inspired Psycho. So, I think you know what's been on my mind. It's the relationship that this movie has to the show Bates Motel. I appreciate the show a lot more for how accurate the geography of the location and how well Freddie Highmore acted like Anthony Perkins. But Anthony Perkins crushed it in this role. He's the real genius here, and I just really appreciate how awesome he was. The fact that the show relocated Bates Motel to White Pine Bay in Oregon, it kind of makes the geography of the movie make less sense, and the geography of the movie is already kind of confusing. I'm really unclear as to where Fairvale is compared to Phoenix, because it seemed like it was a big road trip. But the fact that this entire movie is condensed to what I believe is like a week, Arbogast, the detective, found Bates Motel so fast, kind of made me question how long was Marion driving? I don't think it's the biggest deal, but I'm already asking that question within the movie. And then when you see Bates Motel, it's like, what a weird thing for that show to do, which is make it even farther away from Phoenix. Anyway, that kind of stuff doesn't add up. But again, Bates Motel is a adaptation, and it's fine. What I was really impressed by is how much I didn't feel like this aged. I thought that the camera work and the cinematography it's obviously old, it's obviously black and white, but I loved and appreciated the camera work and everything that Hitchcock did here. I didn't feel bored. I thought the dialogue was really sharp. I thought the acting was fantastic. You know, anytime I watch a movie this old and in black and white, I anticipate the stilted acting, the pre-Marlon Brando acting, where everything kind of feels like a stage play, even though it's on screen, very unnatural. I didn't get that at all. I think from the get-go, from that opening scene between Marion and her lover boy, I was in it. And I was really impressed with the dialogue and the character work. I think the best scenes were dialogue. Unfortunately, I think it's the iconic horror scenes that don't age as well. I just think that's the where we've come a long way in terms of being able to film and portray violence. The camera technique with Arbogast falling down the stairs, I appreciate and get what they were going. I thought it was creative, but also it took me right out of the movie. I don't think it's aged well, and I think we've kind of left that kind of technique behind. It initially caught me off guard because I couldn't quite make out what the killer looked like. It was obviously Norman in a wig, but also at the same time, the way that his face is silhouetted, it kind of looked like a ventriloquist dummy. It looked really unnatural and strange. And so I couldn't quite figure out what they were going for. It makes more sense now story-wise, but I still don't think they captured effectively the horror and the scare. This is one of those things that of course it would have scared you back in the day, but I think the way that comedy ages, you know, things that were funny in the 1960s aren't as funny as they are now. The same goes for any kind of art. And so I feel like the techniques that were captured, I appreciate, but it didn't sell me on the violence. It didn't sell me on the horror of it. It even helped more because I've seen that shower scene. I've seen it before, and I had all of the context going into it. The entire story, it definitely helped. And you can see me in my reaction. I sat up in my seat. I was really excited to watch it. And it was more fun to take in that scene with context, but it was just one of my least favorite things. The conversation and the dialogue, the back and forth between him and Arbogast is probably my favorite scene. But even the opening scene between Marion and Loverboy, I thought was really well done. And my favorite scenes were the snappy dialogue. The final scene where I believe it was the doctor, the psychiatrist that came out and was kind of explaining everything. I thought it was just a hardcore exposition dump. It's fine that we got some of the explanation. I didn't really need it because I figured it out. But if you're watching this in 1960, I can see why this movie or this scene would help you. But at the same time, I thought he was over explaining and it took way too long. And for it to finish like that, it wasn't that fulfilling to just end on that kind of scene. I don't think that we don't do that often. But I'm so shocked and surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. I also don't watch a whole lot of movies just sitting in my computer chair with my headphones on. So that experience alone, whether I'm being recorded or not, was different. But I still appreciated it. Is this more than just, hey, I'm glad I can get up and say I've seen Psycho now? I think it is. I really love this movie. Like, when I log it on Letterboxd, it's going to get the heart, I think. I think it's fantastic. So for somebody who's not really into horror, and a lot of the horror movies that have especially come out in his lifetime since the 1990s, I think this is fantastic, for sure. And I'm excited for the rest of this project, and I'm excited for other Hitchcock movies whenever they decide to reveal themselves to me in my watch diary schedule itinerary. So with that said, guys, Psycho, huge success. Day 1, October 1st, 31 days, 31 horror movies. So far, we're 1 for 1. I can't wait to watch the second one. Number 2, guys, Rosemary's Baby. And I'm really excited. I know literally nothing about this movie. I've heard it come out of the mouth of Steven Spielberg once. I'm excited. And I hope this streak continues and we're 2 for 2. Guys, thank you so much. Again, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, at RewatchRyan. Go to letterboxd.com/RewatchRyan and you can see all the movies that I plan on watching for the 31 Days, 31 Horror Movies project. So you can keep track, get ahead of yourself a little bit and anticipate, have some fun, go along with me, subscribe to this channel, and hang out with me. I'm going to be doing this 31 times. I'm also, of course, doing the Watch Diary podcast on a weekly basis, and we're talking television and movies all the time here. I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.